Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. In this week, I do want to talk about intermittent fasting and explain who it's for, what it actually does, whether it plays a role in your fat loss journey, and hopefully help you understand whether it might be something for you or something that you might like to implement later on for yourself. Now, as with everything I talk about, I've personally given fasting a go, like everything else that I talk about, and sometimes still utilize it on things like overseas trips. I'll explain a little bit more on that part later, but first I do want to explain what fasting is and also what is referred to as IF. So there's probably two types of fasting that you would generally hear about, okay? You've got intermittent fasting and just fasting. Now, generally speaking, fasting will refer to longer periods of time without food. So no food at all. Water is fine, obviously. In terms of time frame, fasting usually minimum of 24 hours, sometimes 48. Sometimes people actually even go up to 72 hours, whereas intermittent fasting usually refers to shorter periods without food. The most popular way to intermittent fast is the 16-8 method, which essentially means that you actually fast for 16 hours and then you'll eat during an 8-hour window. So your total calorie intake must be eaten within the 8-hour window, before you begin fasting again. Now, intermittent fasting has shown loads and loads of health benefits, okay, in scientific studies, particularly such as boosting your cognitive function, decreasing inflammation, increasing insulin sensitivity, and there's loads of other benefits as well. What I might actually do is there is a really good article written by Mike Matthews that I'm going to actually link below that will show you all the other benefits to IF as well. So let me start to talk about the number one reason why some people either inquire or maybe try intermittent fasting, just because I want to make sure that you're equipped to make a more informed decision whether it's not something that you should try yourself. So firstly, IF is not, let me repeat, not a magic fat loss secret like you've probably been told. If this is why you're wanting to give it a go because Louise tried it and she lost weight and now you're wanting to give it a go, that's 100% the reason you shouldn't, okay? Fat loss simply comes down to eating calories over the course of the day equaling a calorie deficit. The reason IF has become tied up with fat loss and the way you can use it to help with fat loss as a tool, not a magic pill, is that rather than consuming your food how you normally would, say 6 a.m. at breakfast, and then obviously throughout the day, and you might have dinner at 7 p.m. and then maybe you've got a snack at 8 p.m. and who knows, however you normally eat, which in total equals anywhere up to 15 to 18 hours, 16 hours maybe. Don't quote me, I'm not very good at maths. Your window is reduced to nearly half of that when you intermittent fast. So you may essentially skip breakfast and a snack and then not eat till lunchtime, which means that you can be consuming less calories every day compared to actually eating all day. So it's not necessarily the fasting that causes the fat loss, it's the smaller window to consume food that obviously leads to you eating less food, which can lead to a calorie deficit, which can lead to fat loss. Make sense? So when you're dieting and you're on low calories, having to spread these calories out over the day might mean that you're left feeling a little bit hungry because each meal will be smaller. Now, for a lot of people, it's easier to fast until 11 a.m. and have lunch as their first meal. This way, you've cut out breakfast and possibly a snack, which might equal, for some people, 500 calories. Then they've got two larger meals again for the rest of the day before fasting again. Those meals being lunch and dinner, maybe a snack. This might also mean that you have more of an opportunity to eat higher calorie foods and enjoy that food more by doing this. So for some people who don't mind skipping a meal, intermittent fasting might actually be an effective strategy for you. If you wake up hungry and you don't really love the thought of not eating until 11 a.m., then fasting might not be the best approach for you. Although it's important to know that if you were to eat the same calories over a 16-hour period that you do over an 8-hour period, you will create the same calorie deficit and you will lose the same amount of fat. It's the calories in versus calories out that causes the fat loss. So fasting is certainly not a must if you really want to lose fat. It's just, for some, it might make the process a little bit easier, but it is very individual, okay? I originally trialed fasting as a way to condense my calories into that shorter window that I was talking about and eat larger meals. But after some time that I found I was filling in those calories at the end of the day with foods that weren't really as nutritious. So nowadays I will use IF if I'm traveling overseas, which I mentioned earlier. So many studies actually have shown that it helps reduce the effects of jet lag. Now, what you do is you have your last meal, say dinner, in your time zone, go to bed, get up in the morning for an early flight, not eat anything before or during the flight. Then when you land, you'll have your first meal at their appropriate meal time zone, okay? So if it's 6 p.m. local time when you land, then you'll have dinner. If it's midday, you'll have lunch. The longest flight I've actually tried this on was when I went to Japan earlier in the year, so that's actually less than a 9-hour flight, I think. If you have a 24-hour flight, I definitely wouldn't recommend trying fasting for the first time on this type of flight. I actually flew to Bali a few weeks ago and it was a 7 a.m. flight. So yeah, I ate dinner, woke up, skipped breakfast, skipped any snacks. And when we landed, it was about 1-ish, 1:30 maybe. So then I ate lunch and dinner in their time zone. I personally recommend that you think of fasting as a tool to use, and only if you really like the idea of it and understand what it really does in relation to its health benefits, and not use it as a quicker way to lose fat. If you're actually struggling with gut health or inflammation, or you want to see if it has an impact on your cognitive function, then yeah, give it a go. Have dinner or your last meal at say 7, 8 o'clock maybe. When you get up in the morning, don't eat brekkie or anything until say midday, 12 o'clock, maybe 11. You know, give it a decent go though. Naturally, the first day is going to suck no matter what. So try it for a week or maybe even 5 days. That should be enough time to at least see if you will get any benefits from it. If you're in a calorie deficit, it might be a good time to give it a go too and see if the strategy makes it easier to eat less during the day. But don't forget, guys, losing weight in a calorie deficit shouldn't be as difficult as I often see people doing it. You know, they're eating something ridiculous, sometimes like 11 or 1200 calories, and you struggle no matter what your strategy is. You really ideally want to be eating over 2,000 calories a day before attempting a cut, okay? Realistically, like I say over 2,000 calories, but realistically, I like to see my clients on closer to 2,500 calories, because at 2,500 calories, if you can get your body to maintain on that, then if you were to cut down to 2,000 calories, which would essentially be an aggressive approach to lose weight, it means that you're down to 2,000 calories and you're dropping all this body fat, and you're in that shape that you want to be in, nice and lean. And it is more of a viable approach in that way. Now, on another note, guys, I'm super excited to let you know that I have opened enrollment for my next group coaching starting this Monday, May 13th. I've already got most of the spots taken. I actually teach you how to eat in a way that you enjoy, a way that you can eat out on the weekend, eat donuts and pizza if you choose to. Obviously, I don't encourage that every day, and not have to live off a meal plan for the rest of your life. Guys, don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. You will learn more about nutrition than you ever thought, which is awesome. And you know, as I always say, I have no idea, you know, what you currently eat or whatever, but I don't want you to say, Ash, I've got no idea what to eat and when or whatever, because I'm going to teach you guys exactly how to do it, okay? I also design customized training program and make sure that your goals are achievable before starting out. If you're interested in finding out more, send me an email. My email is hello@ashlane.com.au, or head over to my Instagram where I hang out the most, and send me a DM. We can have a little bit of a chat over there and see if it would be a good fit. All right, guys, until next week, have a great week.